am grateful have been loved and to be loved now and to be able to love, because that liberates. Love liberates. It doesn't just hold. That's ego. Love liberates. When my son was born, I was 17. My mother had a huge house, 14-room house. At 17, I went to her and said, I'm leaving. She asked me, you're leaving my house? And she had live-in help. I said, yes. I found a job, and I've got a room with cooking privileges down the hall, and the landlady will be the babysitter. She asked me, you're leaving my house? I said, yes, ma'am. And you're taking the baby? I said, yes. She said, all right, remember this. When you step over my door sill, you've been raised. You know the difference between right and wrong. Do right. Don't let anybody raise you and make you change. And remember this, you can always come home. I went home every time life slammed me down and made me call it uncle. I went home with my baby. My mother never once acted as I told you so. She said, oh, baby's home. Oh, my darling, Mama's going to cook you something. Mother's going to make this for you. Love. She liberated me to life. She continued to do that.
Welcome to the second session of Dear Black Girl. Today's show is called She Get It From Her Mama. We'll be talking with three powerful mother-daughter duos during our first segment and a bonus mother-daughter in our second segment. Please share this broadcast right now so your friends and family can tune in too. Now please welcome Cordelia Banny, the creator of Dear Black Girl. See you later!
Hi, thank you so much, Peyton. You did an amazing job, and per usual, I am so proud of you. Thank you. What a great intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second session of Dear Black Girl. I am Cordelia A. Banny, the founder of Daughters and Vessels and the creator of Dear Black Girl, a community that really inspires and empowers Black girls to be seen, to be heard, and to be validated. If you missed our first session, it was on identity, and it was so powerful. It is currently streaming on YouTube, so I encourage you to please go and watch it after this broadcast and share it too. Have you ever Googled Black mother and daughter? In preparation for today's show, I launched out to do some research, and I kept Googling Black mother and daughter. And I guarantee you about 80% of those results were toxic or negative. It talked about Black mothers and daughters being jealous of each other. It talked about Black mothers treating their daughters inappropriately. This week on Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett Smith and her family and their guests discussed how Black mothers tend to raise their daughters differently than their sons. And without doubt, you've heard First Lady Michelle Obama state that Black mothers raise their daughters and love their sons. The mother-daughter bond is complex, it's diverse, it's lifelong, it's intimate. The connection is something that we've never seen before. It's significant, and it changes the way that girls are developed. The goal of Dear Black Girl has always been to change the narrative around what Black women and girls look like in our society. And so we wanted to introduce a new and underrated narrative about Black mothers and daughters. One that says they are powerful, that they are bonded. That clip that we showed you at the very beginning with Maya Angelou, may the Lord rest her soul, was powerful because she talks about how she got pregnant at 17, which obviously is not any mother's dream for their child, but how her mother embraced her and kept her in her home. She talks about how she left her mother's home and how her mother said to her, "You have been raised. When you go out there, do good." And she talks about how when life really got her, she was always able to come home. Black mothers are the first example of home to us. A lot of times we say Black girls and their daddies, right? Or just little girls and their daddies. There's nothing like it. But I would venture to say there's something very special about a Black mother and daughter bond. And so today we are talking with 3 exceptional mother-daughter duos about this very specific bond. Please help me welcome our first guest that I'm going to introduce, Bernetta and Bailey Knighton. Bernetta is a certified life coach, founder of the Knighton Project, creator of Bernetta Style Blog, and the executive concierge for PricewaterhouseCoopers. Bailey is the founder of, yes, you better celebrate your mom, Bailey. Bailey is the founder of the Bailey Nail Kit, author of The Science Behind It. And besides running a business, Bailey has a passion for track and field. She and her teammates set a record in the state of Georgia for the 4x100 in the 8 to 9-year-old age group. Her passion for school is a top priority, and good grades always come first. In addition to consistently being on the honor roll, she is the only girl and middle child. Bailey is competitive in nature. She is always up for a good game or contest, and she also enjoys horseback riding, gymnastics, and swimming. Welcome to the show, guys. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next, I'm bringing on Erica and Simone Bridges. Erica is the owner of Lavish Moments, an event design company, and the mama of Simone Bridges, a 14-year-old celebrity chef, author, and speaker. Simone has been celebrated for her unique twist on traditional desserts and her work in increasing science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics education that's called STREAM, using culinary concepts. In 2017, Simone founded Goddess Food Factory, which is located in her hometown of Jacksonville, Florida. She then created the #1 educational baking kit for kids. In addition to multiple TV and print publication features, Simone has been featured on the Steve Harvey Talk Show, several Smile of the Child commercials, and she is one of 10 kids in the LeBron James Always Believe campaign. Simone has been a keynote speaker for NASA and continues to inspire and advocate for youth through STREAM education. Wow. It's an honor to have you guys here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. And last but certainly not least, we have Latoya and Morgan Felicia. If you joined us last week, you remember what a remarkable job Morgan did as our interviewer. Many of you called and emailed just to talk about her. Well, today she joins us as a guest alongside her mother, who is the owner of Hip Hop Burger, a beloved eatery in Brooklyn, New York. Like her mom, Morgan is the creator of a headband and bracelet business and has recently launched Morgan's Motivational Minute, a space to inspire girls like herself to believe in themselves. You ladies are remarkable, and it is such an honor to have you here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are very welcome. So let's get started. I'm going to pose my first question to Erica, if you don't mind. I'll start that way. And we just want to know a little bit about your story, Erica. Tell us about from the moment you found out you were pregnant with this beautiful little girl, Simone, and how you come to be this powerhouse businesswoman and so humble too, because we spoke a little bit before the show went live, and she is so remarkably humble. So how did that all come about?
So
Uh-oh.
Oh, they may have frozen. It's okay. We'll have them jump right back in when they get here. Can you hear us?
We hear her, so.
hear you.
Okay, perfect. So tell us a little bit about your journey, Erica.
So with Simone, she grew up around entrepreneurship because I already had my business, Lavish Moments. So she grew up helping me. Simone really gets her baking spirit from my mother. So she was always in the kitchen with my mom, and my mom is the one who taught her how to bake. And so she was able to learn the baking side from my mom and the business side from myself. And as she began to prosper in her business, in her baking world, she came to me and she asked me if she can own her own business. So at first I was like, no, you're not going to open up your own bakery. And then she persisted. And then one day I just, someone had told me about this other building that leases different spots. And I went and looked at it myself. And then I went and picked her up from school. And I took her and I showed her, building. I told her that this would be your bakery. And that's how that came about. But Simone has been a go-getter and has had an entrepreneur spirit since she was very tiny.
Wow. Wow. And let me ask you this question, Bernetta. In the clip that we watched with Maya Angelou, she said her mother liberated her with love, right? And so Erica just said her daughter came to her and said, I want to own my own business. That's a scary thought for a parent. Like, if you don't own these grades, right? Like, that's what you need to be focused on. So, but Erica was able to liberate her daughter with love. And obviously you've done the same thing. What did you have to unlearn and relearn to allow your daughter to be who she is?
What did I have to learn? Well, one thing I think I had to unpack was some fear of letting her step into that realm. When she came to ask me, could she start a business? It wasn't Bailey's Nail Box. It was like a nail stand, like a lemonade stand. And she was 6. And I remember I was washing dishes and here she comes pulling on me like, Mommy, can I have a nail stand? Where people will come and get their nails done, like you get lemonade, but people will just sit out there and come get their nails done. And I'm like, I wanted to say no, like, but like Simone, like she saw me doing all this stuff. So I'm like, I have to at least get over the fear of putting herself out there, putting my daughter out there and letting her do this. And I'll just be with her every step of the way. And I've been with her every step of the way.
Wow. Wow. That's so good. And so this question I want to ask to Latoya, you come from a long line of entrepreneurs and people who have kind of gone out and did their thing in amazing ways. How did you recognize that gift in your daughter, right? Because there's a scripture in Proverbs that says that train up your child in the way they should go. But in the amplified version, it says knowing them and finding their bent.
Right.
So how did you discover your daughter's bent and how did you kind of shape her or point her towards who she is becoming right now?
I guess I knew her bend when she was always a gifted child. When she was I think she was in preschool, she was already reading at a first grade level. And by the time she was in first grade, she was already reading at a 4th grade level. And the school couldn't even figure out, they was testing her. And she was like, why are they testing me? I don't really want to take this test. I'm already smart. And they wouldn't even let her in. And we were pushing for her to get into the 1st grade because we knew how smart she was. And I think I was trying to figure out, should we skip her? Should we, me and her father were trying to figure, should we skip her? What should we do? But I think as you try to figure out the bend of your child, you have to let them, move. You have to let them move. You have to let them grow. Even though, like she was saying, you have that fear, you have to let them say, hey, listen, this is what they need to do. Because I know for a fact that my father's an entrepreneur, my grandmother, my grandfather, I knew she wanted to do this. I know Morgan was born for this. And I know that I had fears as a young woman. And I know it took me, I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 years. And once I worked, I have to show her and be a mirror and an example. So I can't hold her back. So knowing the bend of her, you know, we have to do this together. That's my ride or die.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. So now I'm going to go to the girls for a little bit. Simone, talk to us about what you had to do within yourself to be able to communicate to your mom that you wanted to start a business. How did you know that? How did you discover that? Did you see it somewhere?
Well, I pretty much always had a passion and a desire for baking ever since I was 3 years old. I always knew that I always wanted to get inside the kitchen and end up becoming a baker because I would always practice with my granny, which is her mom. I'll always practice with my granny, you know, go inside the kitchen, asking her if I could help her bake the cake, the pies, cobblers, all different types of delicious treats for every single get together, birthday party, or any type of celebration. And then when I turned 5, I got my first easy bake oven, and that's when I really got a feel for baking. And then when I turned 9, I started baking in the real conventional oven. And I was like, you know what? I keep on coming back to baking because I would sing, but then I would come back to baking. I would dance, then I would come back to baking. I would do gymnastics, but then I would come back to baking. I always stuck with baking, so I knew that baking was my gift. It was my talent. It was my passion. And so I figured that she actually saw that in me, and she knew deep down inside that that was what I was meant to do. I was meant to be a baker. And you know, me being Simone and just me being me, I'm a baker but on a different level. So I'm a baker, but I infuse baking and cooking with STREAM. So my whole focus is on STREAM, which is science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But I use baking and cooking to better explain those concepts. So she pretty much knew that I wanted to be a baker, and you know, as any mom just wants to support their daughter's dream and their daughter's goals. So she was just right there to help me any step of the way. But at first it was a little bit difficult to get her to really just envision me owning my own business and me just being like a big boss, I guess, because you see a mom, like, I guess you're a mom mode and you're like, well, are you sure you're ready for all that work? Are you sure you're ready to take on this big responsibility by yourself? But you know, I feel like after a while she kind of thought about it and she realized, hey, I actually wouldn't be by myself because I have her, I have my family members, I have a great support team, mentors, partners, and you know, if you just work together, then you can complete anything really. So you know, she was always there by my side, and teamwork helped us all get through it.
Y'all hear me?
You can hear me now.
That's beautiful. What if there's a young girl, Bailey, who wants to talk to her mom about what she's feeling? And she feels like it may not be a business. It may just be that she wants to do something in science, or she wants to get tested to be in a gifted program, or something that is unique for her. But she feels nervous about communicating with her mom. Have you ever had a moment where you felt nervous or unsure about communicating with your mom? Y'all are smiling, so I'm assuming. And what did you do? Like, how did you have to prepare yourself to have that conversation with your mom?
Well, I'm smiling, but I really haven't had anything that I had to really talk to her about because usually,
Or felt
nervous talking to her about it because usually she'll just come right out or ask me, or I would just tell her. But lately, nothing really because it's just been normal, and I can talk to her about anything. I know that because she tells me that a lot. That I can talk to her because she checks on me. She asks me lots of questions about how I'm doing, how I'm feeling about myself. So really, it's nothing right now. But if I do, I know I have a person to talk to.
And we were laughing because, you know, we were looking over some of the questions, and I'm like, do you ever feel like nervous? So she was like, not really, because, you know, I'm always asking her, like, are you okay? Anybody message you? Anybody problem, you know, bullying you, you know, whatever, to the point where she was like, I'm okay, Mom. She sees me coming. I'm okay. But I'm not going to stop, you know, because I want her to always know that no matter what, like, you can talk to me. I don't ever want her to feel like I have to keep a secret from you.
That's so good. That's so good. So Morgan, let me ask you, tell us about your journey with starting your business and what that conversation was like. Because as your mom said, you know, your great grandfather, your grandfather, your grandmother, your great grandmother, your mother, you know, everyone has this entrepreneurial spirit within them. And then here you go talking about you also want.
Well, it all started because I got a rubber band pack, and then I got string packs, and I started doing bracelet packs with beads and regular metal. So my brothers used to help me, and they used to show me how to make them. And my mom helped. We started showing her. We looked at a bunch of videos, and I decided to make a business. We'd all wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning before school and start making bracelets and putting them in like different sections. So I talked to my mom, and I just started taking everything over. And then I started making headbands with all these supplies. So I talked to my mom about it. I started making stands. I started like hiring my friends and asking people to help work with me. So I guess it was kind of easy for me to go up and talk to my mom. Not because it was just easy, it just came natural. Because I knew that I can trust my mom. I knew that my mom would let me do it. Because my mom's an entrepreneur. I know a lot of my family was entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So
You said something that was very interesting. You said you knew that you could trust your mom. How did you know that?
well, she's my mom. I know she's always going to do what's best for me. And I know that she can trust me, so I know I can trust her. And I've went to her for a lot of things. I never had trouble talking to her.
That's really good. And I want to ask you, Latoya, about that, because there are a lot of young girls who are watching who may not feel that trust, that bond with their mom. What did you have to do to build that kind of relationship with your daughter? When did it start? Did it start when she was an infant? Or did you start doing it when she was 5, 6, 7? How did you build that kind of environment, that atmosphere where your daughter knew she could trust you?
I have to be transparent. It's no goodness of my own. I asked God for the blueprint to raise my children. My mom was young when she had me. She was 16. She didn't know anything. There's no fault of her own either. So there was nothing that she really knew to give me, and anything that I learned from what I saw. So I picked and choose what I wanted to learn. And the things that I saw that was good, I took them in. The things that I saw that was bad, I spit them out. Chew the meat, spit out the bone. So the things that I wanted for my children, I lost my daughter. I lost another daughter, and when I had Morgan, it was like, oh my gosh, it was. I was grieving at the same time, and I was trying to hold her, in really tight, and so when I did have her, I was like, Lord, just give me all the download something where I can be able to build confidence in her, where, she used to hold her head down and her father would say, nope, keep your head up every time you speak. So there were things that we used to do to make sure that, she would be able to come to us with it. And it's also open communication, successful communication between me and her, and being able to say sorry when I don't do everything right. I just be like, baby, I'm sorry. I did that wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. So let's just do it all over again. It's just being transparent between me and her.
Yeah, and I love that you said being able to say sorry, because I think sometimes in our culture, we don't do well with vulnerability. We don't do well with allowing our young girls to know that sometimes we're not going to get it right all the time, right? And as mother of Erica, how do you balance your vulnerability and this business boss that you're raising, right? Because she's been on the Steve Harvey show, but she's also your baby girl, and you also have a responsibility for building her into this woman of integrity and woman of truth and honesty. So how do you balance your own vulnerability in raising Simone?
Well, I'm kind of lucky because she does have mentors. so it's not all me. And sometimes when I want to push things out to her, I can consult with with her mentors. And so what I do as far as my portion, I listen to what she's doing, um, and I try to figure out, along with her doing the other things that she's doing in her teen life, because Simone just turned 15 last Tuesday, so happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday!
So what I try to do, I try to we sync our calendars. That's one thing, first of all. So we sync our calendars. So it's and plus I text her whenever something come up or she have to do something. And then another thing that we do is that we on Sundays like today, we plan out the week. So we sit down and talk about what all does she have to have coming up for the week, and I make sure that she has it in her written calendar and in her phone calendar. So that's one of the things. And then sometimes things come up within the week. So then I'll make sure that she has it. So if I get an email, I send it to her personal email that I know she's going to check.
Yeah.
So I'll send it to that email, and then I'll text her and I'll say, check your email from so and so and so. This is what's coming up. So it's a lot of checks and balances that comes along because you have interviews, you have podcasts, you have articles that need to be written. You have things that we do a lot in the community. She has our own nonprofit, SimoneBridgesInspires.org. So we do a lot in the community base. So there are a few moving pieces along with the business and nonprofit, her teen life, and then home life, because she has chores too. So it's just a lot of checks and balances, and it has to be a lot of communication going on. But it comes together if both people understand where the other is coming from.
That's right.
So we do, yeah. And I think the best way to make sure that happens is a lot of meetings, the regular weekly meetings. So I know what she has, but I do tell her if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. So if you want to do something, make sure it gets on the calendar. We have a wall calendar. I have 2 open calendars. We have our phone calendar. So if you want it to do it, put it on the calendar. If it's on the calendar, that way, if I get something else that someone is interested in, I can work around your calendar too. So that way you still have your life.
I'm listening to what you were saying, and I'm like, well, my life is busy.
It is.
It's like that because we have the calendars going on.
Yeah. But right, exactly what you said. It's organized and it's structured, and it's beautiful that you are creating those systems now, because the reality is success comes out of systems, right? The fact that you are building that discipline and that organization now while you're a baby boss, it gives you room. It gives you a long road to be able to take off, right? You said something, Erica, that I want to touch on with Bernetta and Bailey. You talked a little bit about mentorship, and you said when you can't get through to Simone, you go through her mentors. So Bernetta and Bailey, I'm going to talk a little bit about mentorship. Who mentors you, Bernetta, and who mentors Bailey, and how do you navigate that mentor-mentee dynamic amongst yourselves?
I am a big believer in personal development. And I read a lot of books. I have had coaches. I had a business coach, to help us get started with Bailey's Nail Box. I've joined a mastermind, to help us get the business to the next level. I'm in business groups right now. So I can say I have quite a few mentors, people that they don't know they're mentoring, but people that do know that they're mentoring me. I stay reading. I stay learning. So I hope I'm her mentor, but she can answer that question herself. But they see me, I still take classes to this day, to get better, because even when I have a son, a teenage son, and I try to tell him the greatest people don't get great just by saying I have talent. They continue to practice. They have a coach. They continue to grow. So I don't have one mentor. I have many.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let me ask you, Morgan, what is one thing about your mother that makes you proud or brings you joy?
Well, I'm glad that my mom an entrepreneur. She follows in her mother's footsteps and her father's footsteps and all of her ancestors before her with being an entrepreneur. And I'm glad she balances it. She's not exactly her mother, but I know that she has the entrepreneurship. She can do those programs. She does the stuff without hesitating. And the way she does it and the way she handles it with having 4 kids, it's just amazing. And I'm really proud. I'm really glad that my mom can handle that.
That's beautiful. Don't make us cry, Morgan. Don't make us cry. We know you have the anointing, but don't make us cry. Question for you, Morgan. What are your hopes and dreams for your mom?
Well, one of my major hopes and dreams for my mom is that she brings less stress to herself. Because having 4 kids for her can be stressful because we put all that weight on her hands. She has to do all of our programs. She has to put it all into her calendar. So one day I want her to have her calendar just straight. I don't want us to interfere with our mom's life because she has a life too. And I love that. And that's just one of my hopes and dreams for her.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think for me, sometimes growing up, I didn't realize that my mother was a woman. I just thought she was my mom. That was it. She was on this planet to be my mother. But the reality is she was a woman with her own dreams and her own hopes. So Bailey, I want to ask you, if you could write a Dear Black Girl letter to your mom, what would you say to her?
Well, I would say keep thriving, keep going no matter what, because I know that, like Morgan said, that she has her own life too. So I want her to live her life. I want her to be successful with her life and with her job. I want her to one day live in a beautiful house that's like beautiful with a whole bunch of land. I just want her to travel. I just want her to do things that make her happy. And when all of her kids, including like are out of the house, I want her to enjoy it because right now she's taking time to raise us, and I just want her to enjoy it.
Wow. Wow. And Simone, if you could tell your mother your Dear Black Girl letter for her, if you could read it to her, what would that letter say?
It would say, just think beyond the sky. Don't stop. Don't ever, ever, ever stop for anybody or anything. If something happens, God forbid something happens to your Jasmine, just think that we would want you to keep going and keep living your life. Only thing that we want you to be is happy. Live your life. And if something ever comes where it may be hard to or accomplish any type of challenge, just think that, hey, we have your back. We will always have your back. You have friends, family, me, Jasmine, Dad to support you, but think beyond the sky and just keep going and keep conquering your goals. This lady has accomplished so much and she has taught me so much, me and my sister and my dad, especially my dad. Like, I don't know if I've met anybody smarter. And it's crazy because everything that me and my sister does, we get it from my mom. Everything that we learn, we get it from my mom. Like everything. Our beautifulness, we get it from our mom. Our confidence, we get it from my mom. Our eagerness to complete any type of challenge or task that we want to complete, we get it from our mom. She's so powerful and so amazing. But moral of the story, just go beyond the sky. Reach for beyond the sky. Don't stop. Just keep on going. You're amazing.
Yes. Wow.
That is so beautiful. It makes me feel bad for your dad, though.
I know.
It makes me feel bad for your dad, though.
Wow, this has been amazing. Before we go, I want the mothers to think of one word. One word that if it were a seed, you would sow into your daughter and would hope would bring forth fruit and blossom What is that one word that if you could sow into your daughter, what would that one word be? I'm going to start with Latoya, and then we'll go over to Bernetta.
Wow, one word. Well, I'm gonna say my one word is because I just heard a word from my dad this morning. I would say grace.
Hmm.
Free.
I want grace for her. That God would give her grace, and sometimes it's not fair, but God give her grace that everyone would see the grace upon her life.
Wow. Bernetta?
I'm going to kind of feedback off of what she just said. Many people always say, I have this. I want this for her and my other children, and that is favor. I want the favor of the Lord to shine upon her and all my kids.
It's beautiful. And Erica?
Faith.
Faith. Wow.
Yes, faith. Have faith. There's nothing else to it.
That's beautiful. Well, ladies, to all 6 of you, we pray God's favor, the faith, and the grace over you in everything that you do, even more than what you do and who you are, that you will embody favor, that you will embody grace, that you will embody faith. And we hope that you will come back and be with us again. To our viewing audience, all we can say is wow. As moderator of this panel, it has been heartwarming, makes me want to call my own mama and give her flowers. And if there's anyone watching who hasn't spoken to their mom in days, weeks, months, years, do it today. Do it today, because at the end of the day, she was trying to do the best she could with what she had. And that best may have not been your best, but it was hers in that moment. And so if you want to live a really powerful, profitable, and purposeful life, let her off the hook.
Yeah.
Let her off the hook. Because that freedom is not for her, it's for you. It's for you to be able to mother the women that God is going to put in your village, the daughters that God is going to put in your village, naturally or just your mentees. If you have not spoken to your mom, let this be the sign that you've been looking for. This is it. Call her. If it hurts to call, text, though I would say call. But somehow or another, communicate with your mother today and say, Mom, I'm sorry I let it get between us. It's over. And you have to remember, it's not about her response or her reaction. It's about your intention. The fact that you did it and the fact that you let yourself free, that's what matters. Because this is the narrative that we want to share in the Black community. We don't always get it right, but we never stop trying. I love you all so much. Please stay tuned. We are coming back with another mother-daughter duo to talk about unique mother-daughter bonds. Thank you so much to Simone and Erica, to Bailey and Bernetta, to Morgan and Latoya. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you all so much for joining that first segment. Was that not exceptional? I mean, I didn't even really expect it to go there, where I felt like the daughters were really ministering to their moms. And sometimes as a mother, I'm not a mother yet, but I mentor so many young girls. I have nieces, I have goddaughters, I have so many young girls in my life. And sometimes as the head, as the leader, as the adult, it's nice to receive your flowers. It's nice for someone to acknowledge that what you do matters. And so we are so thankful to those 3 powerhouse duos. Now we want to introduce you to Melinda and Margell. This is a bonus mom and daughter duo. And when I say bonus, some people say, oh, that's my stepmother, that's my father's wife. But Margell and Melinda have come to the understanding that this is a gift, that Melinda didn't necessarily birth Margell, but life has been birthed through her, through Margell, right? The gift is Margell. And so we're going to bring them up now. And I'm just going to read a little bit about Melinda before we get started. She is an administrative manager with the Legal Aid Society. She's been with the organization for the past 17 years, serving in various positions. Her educational background includes a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice, a minor in English, and a Master of Arts in Criminal Justice Administration and Planning. Melinda's passion is to travel, and she also wants to become a certified travel professional. Margell is in her first year of high school. She recently migrated from Jamaica to live permanently with her father and her bonus mother. She enjoys drawing, reading, novels, and fashion. She was very good at track and field back in Jamaica and would like to join the track team here at her new school. Her love for animals has inspired her goal of becoming a veterinarian when she grows up. Welcome to the show, ladies. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. We're going to jump right in. Melinda, tell us a little bit about the transition as a woman. When your husband said, you know, I have this little daughter and I want to bring her to live with me from Jamaica, as a woman, because sometimes we forget that mothers are women. How did you feel? What did you have to do in your spirit and in your mind to receive and accept that?
Well, from the moment I met Margell's dad, his name is Miguel. From the moment we started dating, he said, you know, I have a daughter, her name is Margell, and she's in Jamaica. And immediately it went from me just dating him to me dating both of them. Because when you're dating someone that has a child and you're dating intentionally, and we were dating with purpose, we knew that eventually we wanted to get married. That automatically is a package deal. And I just asked God to, you know, open up my heart and my mind. And even though she was in Jamaica, I was always receptive to at some point in time that she would come to the States to live with us. And now that time is here. And God is good. He's helping us do it.
Yes, that's so good. So, Margell, let me ask you, you have a mama and you get it from your mama. And then you're now coming to the United States, which in and of itself is a huge transition. And then on top of that transition from Jamaica to the US, you also you're receiving as a gift a bonus mom. How did that make you feel? Honestly, did you feel like nervous? Did you feel like, well, she can't take my mama's place? How did you feel on the inside?
Well, I never thought that she was like taking my mom's place. I just thought of her like as you said, just as a bonus mom. She's the one like helping me in America. My mom was the one who was like helping me in Jamaica to like become a better person.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so how was the transition, Melinda, when she finally arrived and you are now living with this girl that you didn't birth, but is essentially your daughter? How was that transition? And what would you say to a bonus mom who is transitioning right now and maybe experiencing some difficulty?
Well, the first thing I would say to any bonus mom is to always speak life. Whatever you want to see, you have to speak life. And as long as your partner, which is my husband, you're working as a team, she's now also a part of the team. So we're about 2 months in. Margell came to the States in September. And the key is to this transition is just everyone feeling like they're a part of this family, being a part of this team, speaking life. I'm big on positive reinforcement and just letting her know this is your home. You're a part of this home. You are welcome here. And, you know, I love you as if I birthed you. I always say, you know, I didn't give her the gift of life, but life gave me the gift of her. So that's how we move. And we just, you know, trust God. And I thank God for a village, the village that we have that's also helping us to, you know, impart into her, you know, good things and just, you know, to do her best at everything that she wants to do and to know that we love her and we support her.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. So, Margell, let me ask you, how did you learn to love your bonus mom?
Well, my birth mom is the one who raised me for like
14 years now. And I love them I love them the same because they're like both helping me to like become a better person in life. And they're both teaching me that like I can become anything I want to in life if I just trust God and work hard.
That's good. Melinda, let me ask you, how do you deal with discipline when it comes to your bonus child? Because I'm sure we have parents who are watching and they have bonus children and they're like, well, they're not my child, so how am I going to discipline them? How do you manage tough conversations? And sometimes not even negative conversations, sometimes conversation about boys or friendships or, whatever she might be going through in that moment. How do you handle discipline and also tough conversations?
Well, the first step to me is always the relationship that you have with your partner. Because if my husband and I weren't operating on the same wavelength, if we weren't on the same page, it would be way more difficult than it is. When you take that vow, when you get married and it's two become one, you have to take that serious. And when it comes to parenting a child, it's the same thing. It can't be dad says and bonus mom says. No, or mom says something different. And I thank God for the relationship that we have with Margell's biological mom, because we're all cordial, we're all on the same page, and we recognize that she's the common denominator. And when it comes to discipline, we'll have a family meeting and we make sure that that she understands this is what happened. This is what took place. And do you know why privileges are being taken away? And what we do also is we ask her, like, okay, this is what happened. Explain to us, things happen. Why did it happen? And a good thing that I learned last week, which I keep, as a part of the positive reinforcement, we make mistakes, but your life is not a mistake. And that resonated with me from last week's conversation. And as we deal with difficult things and we deal with, punishments and taking privileges away, every action has a consequence. So we meet together. It's not just me and her dad saying, oh, this is what you're going to do and this is why you're going to do it. We have to explain to children, this is why this is happening. And, we pray for grace, we ask for forgiveness, and we move on so that we don't make the same mistakes again. No one's looking for perfection, but we have to strive to do better in everything that we do.
And that's so powerful, what you just said about the unity amongst the father, the biological mother, and the bonus mother, or whatever the dynamic may be in any individual family, the unity amongst the adults. So how did you as a woman, and this is going there a little bit, but you as a woman navigate the ability to respect and honor and include her biological mother, even though she's not in the United States? What did you have to do in your mind to be able to do that?
Well, I realized that when the decision was made for Margell to come live with us in the States, that her mother, this is a difficult decision. Yes, she's coming to live with her father, but you're now entrusting another woman to help raise your child. So I have to be the bigger person. I have to step up and show her that I respect you. And in return, I expect that same respect. What you and her dad had is over. But this relationship with the child has to continue, and it must. And we all have to do our best. Don't get me to say that every day is perfect, because that would be a lie. And this is an authentic conversation. Every day is not perfect, but we always have to come back to the common denominator, which is Margell and her well-being. Do you think if we were fussing and fighting that she would be okay making that move? No. Will her mother be okay sending her child to the United States with someone who hates her? How can you expect me to impart love in your child if I don't first love you? And that's how I was raised, and that's how I try to move and operate and show Margell. Always lead with love.
That's beautiful. Always lead with love. And I think that is such a great example for all adults, not necessarily just bonus moms and dads, but she looked at you like, speak, mom. She did. all adults, is to get over ourselves, because we are responsible for another generation of powerhouse women and girls that we are building up with not our words, with our actions. They are watching what we do more than they are listening to what we say, right? So Margell, you just smiled at your bonus mom like you were proud of her. Tell us a little bit about your hopes and dreams for your relationship with your bonus mom, and just, let's do that first. Tell us about your hopes and dreams with your bonus mom, that relationship.
Well, I hope that like we continue to have this, like close relationship with each other, and like everything like I talk to her about, like if I say I wanted to become this in life, I'll talk to her and ask her opinions. And if I wanted to like own another business, I will like talk to her and ask her opinions. And yeah, I like just thrive off her opinions because I just love to ask her questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that, because it's also a lesson to young people who have new bonus parents that you have to give them a chance. You have to give them an opportunity to get to know you and for you to get to know them, because there's so much that you can learn from your bonus mom and so much that she's learning from you. And so, Melinda, let me ask you, what is the greatest lesson that Margell has taught you in the past 2 months that she's been here?
Well, I would say that she has taught me that a mother's love is like no other. Like when a child comes into your life, they become your number one priority. Like my concern is always about her well-being. I'm like in the store and I'm like, oh, what would Margell like? What should I buy for her? What should I do? It just changes your whole mindset. And I just function from a place of she's watching me, so I have to be on my game. And also I'm looking up to God, who is my guide. So it's just full circle where, it's a work in progress. I'm not perfect.
Right.
I don't try to be perfect, but one thing I can say, when they say patience is a virtue, it is the truth, especially when it comes to teenagers. And I thank God for bringing her into my life to teach me more patience, because sometimes I could be impatient. But I said, this is on a whole nother level, and you can't be rash or you can't make rush decisions. You have to sit back and think about it, because someone is now always watching you, So
Yeah.
that's some of the things that she's taught me. And I'm grateful for all of these lessons.
That's beautiful. And Margell, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is the greatest lesson or lessons that your bonus mom has taught you in the past few months?
I can be anything I want through Christ, and my skin color doesn't matter. I'm not less than anyone else. And she tells me that it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about me, but it matters about who God wants you to be.
That's beautiful. And if you could write a letter, which you can if you want after this, but if you wrote a letter, a Dear Black Girl letter to your bonus mom, what would you say to her? How would you express yourself?
Thank you for showing me kindness and treating me as your own child. Thank you for showing me that I can be anything I want to be in life through God. And thank you for showing me that my skin color doesn't really matter. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And the same question for you, Melinda. If you could share a Dear Black Girl letter with Margell, what would you say?
Well, my letter to her would say not to ever let anyone despise your youth, that you are a child of the King, and to always walk with your head held high, and that it's always important, not just outside beauty, but what's on the inside to resonate through, and just reach for the stars. And after you get to the stars, just continue to see what's beyond, because life has so much to offer, and this world will always try to want to knock us down. But just know they got to go through me first.
Yes, I love that. And sticking with our whole idea of mothers are women first, Melinda, if you had to write a Dear Black Girl letter to yourself at Margell's age, what would you say to yourself?
Well, for myself, I would say that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Because, you know, a lot of young Black girls, they always have issues with, you know, self-esteem, and young girls in general, just always about outer appearances, dealing with bullying and different things like that. And when I was younger, I had some of those issues, but I never let it define me because my parents allowed me to be bold. And so I was bold, and I would say, you know, continue to speak up. You're far beyond your years, but the world is going to catch up. And anything that you want to do in life, go after it. Don't let anyone stop you.
That's powerful. Listen, we have so many different mother-daughter duos or trios tuning in today. I hope something we have said has encouraged you and empowered you. To Margell and Melinda, we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because again, the narrative is always, it's going to be contention. There's going to be conflict. And sometimes there is. But just the fact that you are committed to each other, committed to making this work, committed to communication, it is such a gift. And there are people in the comments that are clapping you up and saying, you know, well done. And it's beautiful to see this. It's encouraging. There may be people watching who don't have this scenario right now. It could be hell for them at home, but they look at you and they say it's possible. And so thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for joining our show today. And we wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Well, friends, that was the end of our second session. She gets it from her mama. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that we said something that encouraged you. If you and your daughter would like to have this communication, this conversation at home, we have a template of questions that we can send you for free. And we will send that to you so that you can ask one another these questions and get into each other and get to know one another. When I grew up, I realized again that my mother was a woman, and she is a woman that I admire, and she's probably watching. Hey, mama. And she inspires me, but I didn't know that when I was younger. When I was younger, I misunderstood a lot of her discipline. I misunderstood a lot of the things that she said to me because I hadn't had life experience yet. But like that Maya Angelou clip that we watched said, she liberated me with love. And so to those of you who have daughters who are amazing, you see something exceptional in them, liberate them with love. You don't have to be afraid as long as you commit them into the hands of the Lord. And so we thank you for being a part of this. We are going to turn it over now to Kendall, who wants to share a message with you before we leave. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next week. Stay tuned for Kendall.
For the second session of Dear Black Girl, we had so much fun learning from today's guest. For all the moms and daughters who are watching, please continue the conversation offline. If you would like a template with questions to ask one another, email us at daughtersandvessels@gmail.com. Join us again next Sunday at 4 p.m. where we will be discussing From Ouch to O, how to allow your pain to fuel your purpose. And also, please consider sponsoring our programs. Visit dearblackgirl.us for more information. Be blessed and be well. Good night.